That episode of Vault of Wisdom muzeeyi gyebale.
Kale. Naye gyebale.
Nkulabye ng'ogikakkalabya nga abawulizi sooka babuulire embizzi z'otuuseemu kati.
Natandika myaka nga gigenda kwera ebiri ndowooza giyise. Kuba twatandika before COVID?
Yes.
I think it was
2021.
2021. Kuba COVID yali 2020?
2020.
Then tutandika n'embizzi bbiri. Ensajja ento yali ya myezi ng'esatu ena ekika kya Duroc. Then n'enkazi eyali eggwako naye unfortunately it wasn't so. We thought it was. So I had to feed it for 4 months. Nga terina kyeproducing, and then we realized it's not pregnant. Nenzirayo wannannyiniyo nankyusizaamu nampa endala yali olubuto lwa I think it was 2 months somewhere there.
That was last year actually.
Last year. So by December ne producing. Before December ne producing. Then bweyazaala bukuze nabo bwazadde. Naye in between yakazaala nayo emirundi emirala ebiri. Buno we bukulidde okuzaala. Kati naye badde yakamala okuzaala omulundi gwayo ogwokusatu. Kwa bwe yasooka okuzaala, that's first round. Then nezaala obulala obutandisa okukulakulamu. Kati butukidde mu middle range awo. Ate ziri enkulu zibadde nkulu ekimala about 9 months. They are producing. 2 of them have produced. And then nayo yenyini ne producing ogwokusatu. So bwe mbalamu nti I had 2, so nezaala mukaaga. Then the number rises to 8. And then bampayo kamu for compensation. Kubanga nalunda nesifunamu nako kakuze kati, so the number becomes 9. Ezawamu. Kati bweddamu nezaala yazaala 9. Kali kyeri nti nannyini nnume omuwaayo akakazi kamu. Yes. So that's the exchange. Ne luba nti boddira omunaana n'obugatta ku zibadde mwenda ziri oba olina 17. Na 17 yo neddamu nezaala obwana 9. Ate bwe siinako kengaba kati 9 kitegeeza namba 17, it comes 26. Now obwana bwayo nayo bwazadde. Bwazadde bwasooka bwazadde emu yazadde mukaaga, endala yazadde close anti 10 kamu kafunye accident. So boddira 15 ogatte ku 2 mu meka tubaddemu 2 mu 7.
Tubaddemu 2
mu kintu enamba begenze mu
obali mu 3 in space of 1 year.
Ate nga waliwo endala zenfunye olwokubanga ennume yange erinnyira endala. So from the top of my head I can say
30 plus challenges.
Feeding them is a challenge, and housing them kubanga zikula mangu and they need space. Bwe zibeeramu nga bukyali buto n'obiranga mukaaga, they can be crammed together in one crowd. Naye mu myezi 3 ena buba bugezi nga tebukyasobola
nga bwetaaga okufunira ewaabwe nabo.
Feeding competition esinga okubanga y'amaanyi esinga okulya kati negejja endala okuzisinga. So those are some of the challenges. I'm new in the business,
yes,
but I'm trying my best to learn as much as I can learn. I think and I believe by the 4th year I'll be able to harvest back what I've invested in. Right now I'm not making profits. Kubanga ekyokubiri, we are in a remote area. Yes.
There is a challenge of water.
Water challenge.
Mwali mugajje wansi.
We have a tank, but it's not enough now for the entire flock. The stock we have.
Waliwo n'abalala abalundira
complex yemu. So challenge ya feeding, housing, water, and even the management itself. Kubanga ofuna competent workers abajja ne bazirabirira bulungi passionately. Some of them are just laborers, and that's all. You can give them money, but they will not give you value for the money you have given them. So they are not passionate about it, so they will do something average. We haven't lost any. I haven't lost any.
That is a blessing. Yes. It's a blessing.
So, but I've got some which seem to have retarded in their growth. I was feeding them well. I've been drinking little and eating a lot. We are trying to change that. So when I'm a local second round strategy, I'm going to reduce the number of pigs I raise. In discarding off the nennume, the males, then a few, selected few of the soul, bazita soul, enkazi.
Good breed.
Good breed. And then I want to be a breed farmer, focusing on breed, mainly breed. So I want to get the best breed and collect a reproduction, so that people who buy from me
buy a good
just
breed.
Buying for pork, but are buying for their own personal stock they want to get. When it's a good breed. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Just keep a few for reproduction and sell off the males. You castrate them. No salako n'emikira. Nozirisa bunye zifuna weight mangu nnyo.
Ogisalako emikira and you castrate, they gain weight.
They gain weight. That's what they say. I'm trying to learn that. But farmers so they gain weight quickly, and you have to sell them off in between the 4th and 5th month. Difference, but what I anticipate to be happening is that you always have kind of flowing cash to keep the stock going.
The management.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a big challenge, but
I'm trying to
it's very interesting. It's very interesting what's happening here. I've seen, and I saw when you just started, and now I'm seeing how far you've gone, and it's amazing. It's worth sharing with the audience. Vault of wisdom, Mzee. The world has so many problems. If I were to start from home here, we have unemployment, we have bad governance, we have corruption, so many things happening here. When I go outside, we have the Russia-Ukrainian war. Yesterday, the US House Speaker, went to Taiwan against the wishes of China. Now there is tension between the United States and China. And now I just feel like they finally have that reason to sometimes you give someone a reason to fight, sometimes you don't. So I feel we are heading for some troubling times unless something changes. So these are some of the things you're going to speak into with your wisdom. These are the things, so many things you're going to talk about. But before we get into that, I wanted the audience to know who you are, where you're coming from, and how you've got here. And that's where we started. That's why I started with going back into the person that is Pastor Sevina. We are going to get into the other things.
And there are many
if there are so many things we are going to talk about.
Where should I start?
There are so many things.
Unless there's a specific question that
yes.
I've been mentioning the global scene now. The things that are happening are not random occasions, occurrences. Actually, they are predicted in the scriptures, not in the precise form for everyone to see. It's not like reading a magazine. But once you engage God and know His mind, He has already predicted what's going to happen. Much of that is going to be because of the very structure of man's ideology and thinking. Causes them to be that. You can expect what they are going to do because their internal structure is corrupted, is towards control.
Control.
Yes.
Mm.
Everyone wants to get as much control as they can
Over the other.
over the other.
Mm.
And that competition has been simmering. We were there once. It has been simmering for a long time. But now they are about to erupt into something. It won't be so disastrous. That's what I think, because the end is not yet very close. And it's only God who is going to wind up the scene. No mankind, not even the devil, can wind up the purposes of God in the earth. It is for him to decide when to put the close at. Now this is the end. We know the end is definitely going to be.
And it's getting closer and closer.
And every day it's getting closer. But with the mathematics of God, 1,000 years to him is the equivalent.
It's the equivalent of one day.
So one day he can do things he can accomplish in 1,000 years in one day. And he can take a program that could be finished in one day and stretch it into
1,000 years.
So when it comes to God, the timing here, it changes. The timing, God's time changes against ours. So while we may think it's going to, the end is going to be a little bit delayed than we expect, it can change. Because God can change the world in just 1 month. Now, remember, COVID came and it transformed.
It paralyzed everything.
And, the paralysis caused the transformation of everything we are doing. Every aspect of our life.
Yes.
And now the world is changing. Now you see, it gave these global powers some kind of rhythm to begin to follow their own things that have been lying in limbo. Ukraine and Russia have been having this simmering problem.
Conflicts,
conflicts, because it's about NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty
Organization.
Do you know anything about that?
Just the abbreviation. And
it's just like a military build-up to defend themselves against the Eastern culture, like they call them the Eastern culture.
The Eastern Bloc.
The Eastern Bloc, the communist countries, particularly Russia.
Russia and China.
Yeah, because during the Second World War, the Rift Burmese and America represent the West, and Russia represent
the East.
Were communist and capitalist, and they did not want to work together. They do not see themselves living in the world harmoniously. With a bad eye. So they rushed to conquer Berlin.
It was a race, actually.
It was a race.
It was a race.
Now, no one could outwit the other. They ended up dividing Berlin. One getting the eastern side of Berlin, and the others getting the western side of Berlin. Now, they started to influence each one is section. This is the way.
This is the way to live.
And the others were opposed to that.
The way of life in Western Germany wasn't the same as
Eastern Germany. In Eastern Germany, they remained so backward in many things. And in Western Germany, they were so advanced like the other countries.
Yes, they were like the Western countries.
And now that pressure kept on building until during the times of Gorbachev. The stalemate was crushed, and there was an arrangement that abolished the Berlin Wall.
It was the same thing that led to dividing South and North Korea.
Yes. Now, for those, they have never united. But Germany, at least for them, they united. They reconsidered, and some people, like Putin, stayed bitter, just like
Hitler did.
Adolf Hitler remained with some bitterness. He didn't like the way things ended.
In First World War.
Yes. And whenever a fight is not, I don't know whether it's a fight that can be concluded.
No.
Because even Muhammad Ali, when he was fighting Joe Frazier, you don't know the history about boxing, but Muhammad Ali was one of the fantastic boxers.
I know a little bit of it. Just enough.
He was banned from international boxing for some time, and he was imprisoned for not accepting to engage in the Vietnamese War. Clamps. Eventually, they released him, and he had to go.
He was stripped of everything.
So he had to fight it again. And I think he got it somehow. I don't remember.
He lost the first fight against Frazier.
Now, I don't remember whether he had the title by then when he didn't have the title.
I don't think he was just coming back.
Yes. And he lost to Joe Frazier.
Mm.
Now, the irony is that Ali almost took the fight because the way he battered the face of Frazier could tell that the man was tormented, was hit. The opportunity came Frazier's way. And with one swing, he broke Ali's jaw. He put him down and broke his jaw. By the time the counting was over, there was some frustration points, like the judge, the ref, delayed to count, or somehow delayed to count, and that by the time the counting was over, Muhammad Ali was, tweeted and he couldn't. However, if the judge, something like if the ref had counted from again, he had a chance against
Frazier.
Joe Frazier on virtue of points. Now, I was telling the fights don't ever
no fight ends with both sides accepting that it was fair.
And then there's a complete truth.
So that's how Hitler felt. That's how Putin felt.
He felt bad about Gorbachev's giving in.
Decision to give in and losing the USSR.
He has been studying the West for a good time and seeing their politics, seeing their affairs. They are big mouth. They can say a lot of big things. But when it comes to action, and when they go for action, like they went for Iraq, they are irrational. Too much excitement and, cowboy style. Do it because you are the big guns.
The same with Afghanistan and the way they left Afghanistan.
Now, the Americans have been leaving a track of misjudgments and unfinished work. And they have lost the trust of the other civilizations. We cannot really rely on these people. They are not.
You can't count on them.
They are not as ruthless as the Russians. Now, America, in all its roughness, cannot invade a country just like Putin.
Yes.
They will put up proxy wars. But Putin was bold enough to go for it because he knows there's nothing they're going to do. Same like Hitler knew if he took Poland, Britain was not going to back.
It's just Poland.
Just Poland. I'm just bring back my own people, uniting the boundaries. Before long, he was taking France. When they woke up to the realities.
He was after England.
He was a monster eating up the world. And the Americans first distanced themselves from the war.
Until they got attacked.
And that was a mistake. Even Russia had an arrangement with
Germany.
You take this, I take this, we will never go to war. Now, eventually, Hitler got other ideas and he invaded Russia. Now, the arrangement collapsed. So, these things keep on happening on and off, again and again. And I think they put the people in those generations at attention. But what I can say, we should mind so much about what God's plan is. Whether you are Christian or not, there is God, and He controls the universe. And this planet is just a tiny thing. He knows how to control it. He just moves it like how do you call these beats for when we are playing chess?
Just what do they call them? Yes, let's call them objects.
He just moves
you move the pony, you move the knight, you move the...
He's playing chess with the devil. And he has to win. Now, the game, as they are playing their chess, we see things happening. Yes. So, I believe it's causing tension because right now, the issues with America and China are not yet settled. Now, China has seen what Russia has done. It must be beefing up and say we can engage with the Americans.
And they're not going to do much.
Yeah, because their name has been tainted with ugly confrontations. Where when they wanted to engage Cuba, it was out of balance. When they went to Vietnam, it was a little bit out of balance. When they interfered with the Cambodia, again, it's out of balance. With the Korean War, it's out of balance.
Iraq,
Iraq,
Afghanistan, same thing.
and Libya.
Mm.
So
Libya.
her enemies, Americans' enemies,
Mm.
have studied the pattern.
Mm.
The only people they feared was Reagan.
Mm.
Reagan would do what he wanted to do.
Mm.
And this recent guy, Trump,
Mm.
he was no bully. He could say something and do it.
Mm.
Others are puppets.
Mm.
I'm sorry to say, but they seem to be so much like puppets,
Mm.
working for a system, a hidden system.
Behind them,
Which
the
doesn't
presidents
want to
actually.
taint its image
Mm.
globally, but would want to engage.
Mm.
So right now, they are sending armaments to
Taiwan.
not
To-
Taiwan,
to Ukraine.
Ukraine. Why not engage the guy?
Mm.
openly? Because the international kind of order,
Mm.
UN, NATO does not permit,
That. Mm.
and dictators don't care
Mm.
about those things. By the time you're going to wake up,
Eh.
they have done their thing and they have accomplished their mess,
Mm.
and people have died.
Mm.
And you only look for a truce, a kind of settlement.
After things have boiled over.
Yes.
Mm.
So we went into that one, but that's how I see.
Mm. Mm.
As for me, I focus on building the accurate image of Christianity, because on the other hand, the world is going that way because the church is failing to be what it's supposed to be.
The church is
world,
failing
yes.
the world.
We are not challenging. We have been reduced to non-challenging.
Mm.
We don't have a say in politics. We don't have a say in global economics. We don't have a say. We are not major players. Leave alone the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is something to be reckoned with. Yesterday I learned that they have a seat in the UN.
Hey.
Yes, the Muslims have a seat by their Arab League representation.
Mm.
Anglicans have a seat by virtue of England being the actual seat of Anglicanism.
Mm.
Now, the church, as I know it, I wouldn't want to say the Pentecostal, but the evangelicals don't have.
We don't have.
We don't have.
We don't have any role in the events that are playing out in the world.
And we are not scared to anybody. But if the church rises up, I believe the church, now this is radical, the church working with God can even decide wars, how they can end. Because like Montgomery, General Montgomery, he was a Christian and used to pray and consult God. And he ended up having victory. We remember the war of Constantine's war. It was influenced by the Christian mindset and the ideology. That's why he gave in to Christianity after his victory. So the church can decide the state of empires. It was the church that caused the fall of the Roman Empire. Paul was just preaching, but during his preaching, wherever he went preaching, customs, cultures were transformed. And the people who were woodwinked to be blind followers of those political eras woke up and said, no, the emperor is not God. I can't be tied to Diana. It's just an image. It's not from Mars, and now we are worshipping it. And they change. The customs change. And when people's mindset change, the politicians are in trouble because people can revolt. You remember? Have you ever read about Spartacus?
I watched it in the movie.
He was a gladiator, and they were captured and made tools of entertainment and merchandise. But at one time they revolted, and they brought great trouble to the Roman Empire. Now, people, when they wake up to truth, they can do
To truth, not anything else.
Yes, but absolute truth. Truth will tell you are a man. And then you begin to weigh yourself against other men with pomp, their president. A president is just a mere man, another mere man. You undress them and put them another man. They are the same. Nothing peculiar. But they are mystified so much and we fear them. And I have to answer this.
Yes, you answer it.
Hello, Mkulu. Amina sebo. Kale sebo na mjeba. Yes, sebo.
So you are saying truth when you put
Truth.
the president and a regular man.
Yes.
Same thing.
The Bible says, let us create man, let us make man in our own image, after our own likeness. Now, there was no segregation, there was no difference in that. Man is called man, Adam, human being, a human race. Now, we came out from his mind as male and female. And we are not supposed to rule over each other. That was not God's game. He said, let them have dominion. We are supposed to be organized and have dominion over.
So it is all of us having dominion over not one man.
The resources of the world for a common good, the glory of God. Now, when selfishness comes in, we want you try to grab as much as you can and store as much as you can. We are just like animals. You just need just a little. And you, like now, you know, it's just I think 2% or 10%. I don't think it's even more, up to 10% of the global wealth is in 90% of the global wealth is in the hands of.
They say 80% in about 20, but I think it's less than that.
Less than that. So the rest is amassed by a few over the others who are actually their brothers, who they should be sharing with. Now they seek to control the poor because of the wealth. That's why they amass armaments to fight. When it came to scrambling for Africa, every one of those powers had amassed weaponry that could match the other on the battlefield. They resolved to say, we shouldn't go out there and fight. We shall kill each other. Let us just share the continent. Those guys,
so they brought out pencils and started marking out
the African map without consulting the native, and even America was not invited in the game. It was those.
That's why most of these countries were colonized by Britain, Germany, France, Italy, Portugal, France. America wasn't invited.
Well, I was not invited to eat the cake. Now, after Second World War, America found its way in the continent of Africa by way of evangelism and its liberty, giving out. But formerly, like Uganda, we were just British
protectorate.
And we are so much oriented towards the British, and even the systems we have here we run
are still
not American
British
systems. Electricity, British system.
Parliament,
British system. Network, British system. Judiciary, British system. Everything. So now the who have been global players are losing game. Like there was the Ottoman Empire. It ruled for some time. Now it collapsed. There was the Russian Empire. It collapsed. The Chinese Empire is collapsing. The American Empire. They don't seem like empires, but they have been ruling the rest of the world on an empire scales. But now the game, the power
changing.
Is shifting. First, sometimes it begins with economic powers changing, and then whoever has
the military power,
the economy, then the military power. When I got saved in the 80s,
yes,
there was a lot of talk by people who were prophetic, how China is going to pass over America and supersede in its army
and economy.
Now we couldn't see it by that time, but now we can see almost everything. By the time Britain gave us independence, everything we were using, almost 90% of what we were using here in Uganda came either from Britain or France or Italy, and a few from Germany. But now look around. China and Japan. All the cars, you just stand anywhere on the roads.
China, Japan.
And then you see every 10 cars that pass by, you may even miss to find any car coming from Europe. They are coming from either Japan, mainly, some from India, Tatars, and then some from China, and a few from Korea.
But the most merchandise we use is coming from China. Even the investors we have
from China. And for them, they have been having this way, their approach. They can work with you without interfering in your local politics. The Americans are the world policemen, so they want to give you money on condition. And some Africans are saying, well, if you want to give me money on condition, and somebody who is giving
let me
money,
go to Russia, let me go to China.
And now you say they went to China, they went to Taiwan, and they did not win a deal. Russia have been sending envoys now to other countries. Sent an envoy to India, and they cracked a deal.
They came to Uganda recently
they got a deal
regarding oil.
Yes, and then the British, the Americans will come, but they may go out away empty-handed because they are too full of conditions.
Russia doesn't give you conditions.
I don't think the Russians are good, but
they are sneaky. But
they are sneaky. They know how to play their game. Like they give you a carrot, they take away something from you. They give you education, they are taking away something from you. They give you guns, they are taking away your security. You know, just like that. All of them are thieves, are corrupt. You know, yeah. I don't say they are absolutely wrong, but the human nature, as a preacher, have to go back. That's the nature, the nature of fallen man. Instead of sharing power as humans and exploiting the world resources for the common good and giving glory to God, they are trying to be so greedy that some countries should be vanquished so that the others
can flourish.
Yes, and then the power game will be enhanced. The one who has a lot of wealth, one who has got a lot of guns, he dictates the
rules,
the politics, makes the rules. We have the UN, and a lot of nations, Ugandan, African nations, are part of the UN. But look, there is a kind of circle, inner circle, countries
inside the UN itself
that make the vetoes, that make the decisions. No African.
Mzee, very interesting. And today we've not talked about your history because it is from this story that we want to see how you've evolved into this insightful person that you are. But in the interest of time, we shall do that next week.
Okay.
But this was wonderful because you've shed light into what's happening. The issue of Taiwan and China is the same thing with Russia and Ukraine. They are trying to regain what they claim is theirs. And the United States doesn't believe that a nation that has democracy, that is self-governing, should be taken back. To them, that is autocratic, it is dictatorship. So that's where the trouble is going to come from, and we hope things don't turn out.
They'll tilt that somewhere, just the human games, but again, as humans, they will find a way of going around it. But they will not absorb it. So it is bound to come back again. Because until you find the root cause and deal with the root cause, there is no absolute solution.
Until you find the root cause.
Now, what is the human's root cause that has brought about this greed from Nebuchadnezzar and the other empires? Somebody just feels they are so important, more important than the others, and they create their own funny ideas, and they amass kind of control. They use the God-given geniuses in them to manipulate others to be subjected to them and silence them. Now, the funny thing is that they die. But by the time they die, they have sown a terrible seed of ideology, which is carried on by the sycophants, and they just take over until somebody radical enough stands up and says, "No, enough is enough." And there is a fierce war, and then a new force emerges up, and the nations of the world say, "What can we do?" They all quiet down because we have been reduced to enduring mishaps and pain, rather than standing up and confronting what is the problem. Uganda is going to rear this fracas until
you've seen them before. Last week you were saying what's happening right now. You've seen before,
and it's going to happen because only one person who can lead us to an absolute solution is Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. He was sent on the earth not to fight our wars, but to give us principles that help us to go back to normalcy God had in mind. You can share power together. Like husband and wife, you are different, but you can share power together and amass wealth and make your family good and even cater for other people.
You can rule
Yes,
together,
you can rule together.
have dominion
I can
together.
rule with my wife. If I can rule with my wife, I can rule with my brothers. I can rule with the entire human race. Because even if I'm so greedy, I just eat it. Just
Jose, let's stop here for today. We shall be back next week.
Thank you so much. You are drawing me out, and that's
that's wonderful.
That's real me.
Yes,
I'm
that's
not
wonderful.
Pumped up, I'm just exploding into who I really am. A preacher, son of God, but I believe that the world has got solution. We are just making ourselves stupid. And the Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. When you know God and respect him, you tap into the resources of wisdom. It's not a mystery. I have no monopoly over this. And a lot of people in the world share my sentiments and understanding if they know God and fear him. Yeah.